On today's show, well, you already know what it is. You already know what's going to happen. We're talking about Bethune-Cookman, the Marching Wildcats, and obviously, I'm giving them a grade. So you already know what's next. We're talking about drill stands and the total package. All this and more coming up next on Luke's Van Report. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whenever you're watching me right now. My name is Jay Luke, the owner and operator of the Passion Is Network. I'm also the host of Talk That Talk. You can find any of our merchandise at www.realtalkthattalk.com. All right, I know it's been this anticipation about me talking about Bethune, obviously, because usually I come out on Mondays and or Tuesdays, but this past week was Father's Day, and I was going to enjoy my Father's Day. So I enjoyed my Sunday. And I enjoyed my Monday too. So, and then I had to go to work on Tuesday. So, and apparently I'm at work right now. But before we get into it, shout out to Willie Ray Smith Middle School. This shirt actually comes from Willie Ray Smith Middle School, the school that I used to work at before I started working at Ozan. So shout out to them. I just wanted to give that shout out because I'm wearing this shirt and it's been a very, very long time. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Bethune-Cookman Marching Wildcats. I mean, I know this is going to be a really, really interesting one, just to say the least, because of the fact that, I mean, it's Bethune, and they are what I would definitely put into the top 10 of HBCU bands. I would say that everybody would probably throw them somewhere in their top 10. So I know it would probably be a little difficult to be able to have this conversation because some people may agree and a lot of people may disagree. But we're going to talk about it anyway. So let's get into it. First things first, drills. Drills for me, I would definitely say this. I'm going to start by saying this. By far, I'm a J5 fan. Let me go ahead and put it out there. With being a J5 fan, I will definitely say this. The Horsemen, whatever they call, probably some of the best intros when you talking about field entrances for a drum major. I don't think that there's too many drum majors that's going to top their entrances. One of the things I didn't like from this past year is their move. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was this year or last year when that little step move, whatever they did or do, was really become a public thing thanks to the young brother who was on social media, and then it's just kind of trickled down. One of the things that I just couldn't understand is, because I think Bethune is a heck of a marketing program. Why didn't you just market that? As a program that, in my understanding, is the people that kind of, with the drum majors, kind of invented it, I would have taken that and capitalized off of it. Specifically from a drum major perspective, I would have did it in everything that I had the opportunity to do it in. And the fact that you didn't, I thought was just kind of weird. But again, entrances, by far, they got it, hands down. But I wanted to put that out there. Now, everything else, I'm still J5 all day. I still think J5 kind of gets them on everything else, but that's just my personal opinion. As far as drills, I would definitely say this. Just when it comes to drills alone, I mean, obviously, patterns in motion, 8 to 5, so on and so forth. But what I do realize is that they don't do a lot of different drills. They had a drill where they did that was, from what I could tell, specifically at home, where they had like these little, if you ever heard of the store Albertsons, it almost was like an Albertsons symbol. Y'all go look that up. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then they made this like little diamond inside of the circle that they have on their field. One of the things that I'm going to appreciate, and I'm going to have to say this, and I'm going to say it out loud. Listen, if you are a program that's not going to change drills, if you're going to continue to do the same drill throughout the year, fine. I don't have a problem with that. As long as the drills are getting better as you do them. If they are continuing to either stay stagnant or get worse, then that's where we have the problem. And what I would definitely say about Bethune is their drills typically got better the more they did them. So when I'm going back to that specific drill, the first time I think I saw them do it, I think it was at their Labor Day game, I think it was. I can't remember exactly which game it was. But the diamond inside of the circle looked really iffy. But as you go forward, you see them do it again later on in the year, and it was cleaned up. So I can definitely appreciate that. On a lot of occasions, you would see them coming down in those company fronts at the beginning, whether they're coming out the hole on either side, and we'll talk about that in a second. As they're marching out, sometimes their lines, the earlier you see them do the drill, sometimes those lines were a little crooked. But then as you see them continue to move forward and do the drill over and over again, they clean them up. So by far, I would say that that is a success. So if you're going to do 2 drills a year, 3 drills a year, and keep it there, that's fine. As long as they get better. And from what I can tell from Bethune, consistently they are better. However, here's the thing that I think that happens when it comes to Bethune and what people tend to say about Bethune. They're boring. I don't even think that. Okay, so I will say that they're not necessarily boring, they're just dry. I think tempo has a lot to do with that. One of the things that I learned at PV is, not PV, I'm sorry. One of the things I learned at Norfolk is tempo drives the energy of your drill. Now, that also leaves room for a lot more mistakes. The possibility of not a high knee lift, even though we worked on that, regardless of how fast that tempo was. But I think sometimes the energy is sucked out of the room based on the tempo. Their tempos are always the same tempo. I think I want to say maybe about 120, 110, 120, my assumption. But I think that drags down the energy of the drill. And I think that that's kind of what makes it boring or dry from what people will normally say. And so with that being said, I think that, and this is just my belief, and I don't know they're not going to change it, but this is just from my perspective. Picking up the tempo a little bit more would also pull some of the energy out of, that field show. The Wildcats theme for me is it's lit. I'm sorry. For anybody who wants to agree or disagree. I don't know one person who doesn't sing that. I sing that, and I didn't go to Bethune. I'm just going to say it. It is catchy. It is marketable. It is their theme. They going to play it every single time. To me, it's the equivalent of Get Ready. Like, that when it comes to, Jackson State and Get Ready, that when you hear Get Ready, that's who they are. They coming down the street. And it's the same thing to me, in my opinion, with Bethune. I just think that Wildcats Let's Go is just just super catchy. It's just catchy. It just is what it is. It just is. There's no other way around it. It's a catchy tune. Let's just call it what it is. Sound perspective, man, I'm sorry. Nobody's touching them. Nobody's touching them. And understand what I mean by that. Clarity of sound, arrangements. Listen, people will, and I'm going to get to this in the stands and, later on, but people will talk about their arrangements, right? The simplicity of their arrangements, whatever, however you want to argue that. One of the things that you hear in their arrangements is they're not doing a lot of cross voicing. They're staying right inside of the tessitura of the horns. They're not going outside of the range and the characteristic sound of their horns at all. And regardless of how good or bad their arrangement is, they play it well. And that's one of the biggest arguments that I think that I can ever have when it comes to arranging. And I know I had this conversation privately with Dr. Chisholm. It wasn't necessarily about Bethune per se, but there are people who can write poo arrangements, but if you can teach it well and the band sounds good, it'll come across well. There are people who can write great arrangements and the band just can't play it well. It's not taught well. My argument for anything that you have to say as far as as it pertains to Bethune, I think that their arrangements are written very well. I think their arrangements are written perfectly for their program. I think the problem that we have with that is because it's not doing or it's not in the style, quote unquote, of what everybody wants to hear. People turn their nose up at it, but it fits perfectly with them. Weight distribution, quality of sound, warmness. And listen, tuba section sounds like a tuba section. It doesn't sound like a bunch of ducks trying to reach for high notes that they just possibly can't reach. It's a warm, rounded, conical sound that surrounds that band program. So I'm just going to be very honest in saying that it ain't too many people touching them when it comes to quality of sound. You can fight me on that. We can debate about it, but ain't too many people touching them when it comes to quality of sound. And that's due to well-written arrangements for that program and approached very well. Because we can say you can toss their arrangements to any other band program. That does not guarantee that those band programs are going to sound just like Bethune. We can debate. So now, 14 karat gold. I don't even know why we don't pay attention to them much. Their field presentation is just really amazing. And in my opinion, when they have their field presentation, the tempo picks up, which makes their part of the performance more exciting. I don't even understand why we don't pay attention. They're really good. I mean, I still can't stand for the open leg gush thing, but I guess, again, if that's your brand, that's what you do, by all means, you go for it. But again, I every time they performed, I was glued. I think that they're really, really good. And they're typically not in conversations from what I can see. Now, I'm not necessarily the person who's going to be in all of the dance community, rightfully so. But generally, I'm always hearing about the same people. And I think that they need to be part of the normal conversation. And it could be just because, I mean, not only because I think they're good, but also because of the fact that because when they perform, the tempo picks up, so the energy picks up. That could be a thing too. But I think they're really, really good. Really, really good. So kudos to you, ladies. Kudos to your director and everything. I think that you all are doing a fantastic job. Very good. I have nothing to say about them. But when it comes to the flags, though, I think that they are good. I don't think that their flags are bad at all. I think they do a really good job. I don't like the fact that they're just stuck in the back. I watched, I think, 3 or 4 drills where they were just there in the back twirling. I don't understand that. That didn't make any sense to me. Going back to that drill that they did at home where they had like 4 diamonds or whatever, and then they had the diamond that was in the circle. They put 3 drum majors in 2 of those diamonds, or 3 of those diamonds, and then put 2 drum majors in the front. Why didn't you just put the flags even in the back parts of the diamond? Like, that just didn't make any sense to me. To me, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to have some flag work done within the drill. Even if you took them back out of the drill and then put them back in the back, you could have floated them in and floated them out, in my opinion. I just was like, in my brain, I'm like, why do they have flags if they're only in the back? Like, their flags get no burn. No burn. Like, for real. They get no burn. Even when they played the slow tune, they were still in the back. I was like, what? So who's the slow feature for? Is it just to have music to rock in the stands to? Or is it for the flags? I couldn't figure it out. And then the color of the silk. It just blends in. It just blends in. It just threw me. I just couldn't figure it out. And it's still mind-boggling to me still, because I think that they have a really good flag line, and I just don't think that they're utilizing them to the optimum way that they can use to utilize them. That's just my personal opinion. Hey, again, it's my personal opinion. I would love to see more use of them more often than not. And then again, and going back to the full gambit of the drills, I mean, there were a couple of times when they made a mistake. Obviously, at the Florida Classic, some people stepped off too early. I can't remember what drill it was, but they were coming back to their front lines, and it was a squad all the way to my right, left side of the 50, where they just couldn't get it together. And it was just one squad, and they couldn't make it back to the line in time. They jumbled it up, but then when everybody did their TTR, then, they kind of got it together. So, I mean, obviously nobody's perfect. I didn't ask you to make a sound. But no, everybody's not perfect, and that's okay. I think that's going to happen in multiple situations. Let me turn this down. So, with that being said, let me jump to the stands. Stands. Let's talk about the stands. Listen, there is a militaristic thing that Bethune has, and I'm assuming it's tradition, that leaves me wondering, do y'all ever really have fun? There should be a discipline in every single band program. Let's keep that a buck, 100%. There should be a discipline in that. But from the way they sit, perfect lines, diagonals going up, I can see all of that. To every single move that they do is to the T. Every song, everybody's doing the exact same thing, and I just be like, "Nah, do y'all ever Is there individual personalities within these particular sections, people, groups, into where it looks like it's fun? Because to me, it just be seeming like, yeah, we're doing the moves, we all look alike in doing them. That's great, but it just send help. Just blink twice. Blink twice if you just send help. I'm stuck. It's almost like I was trying to relate it to a movie. It's almost like, what was that movie? The one that had Usher in, The Faculty, when everybody kind of got hit with the alien bug daddy, and then everybody started doing the exact same thing, and it was like we're being possessed by aliens, and we need help. Send help. You know what I'm saying? So I like the disciplined nature of it, but I also don't like it because of the fact that there's no deviation to where there is a personality that shines through. It's just this or nothing. So I think that's the one thing that threw me off, specifically in the stands. From a musicality standpoint, it's the same thing that I said before. They don't, more often than not, they're not going to miss when it comes to the arrangements. When it comes to quality of sound, when it comes to balance and blend, they're going to play the same thing over and over again. So 9 times out of 10, and let's be very clear. They do add different things to their book. It just ain't much. It ain't like they adding 20, 30 songs. And I think, again, that's why I say that I think Bethune is a brand, because they're not going to step too far outside of their brand. So if adding 3 or 4 songs to the book, or 4 or 5 songs to the book, per the need of it, based on whatever popular song is out that year, fine, they do that. But everything else, same thing. And you can't tell me it sound bad. I'll wait. You cannot tell me it sounds bad. So I don't know if we look at that as a success. I mean, I don't know if you look at that as a success or not, but I do. I do. You good at what you do. Would we, the masses, prefer to see something else? Yeah. And I would almost argue that sometimes their own crowd does. I think I watched them do it was like this performance at the beginning of the year, freshman performance, and I think they only had half the band or something like that. And it just seemed like, yeah, they were playing their normal standards, but it just seems like the crowd just wasn't into it. Now that's, again, optics from what I've seen. Now they crowd may have been going hype, and they may truly enjoy, their program for what they do. They may not want to see anything different. But optics from where I sit and watch, it just seems like they don't get too excited until it's Florida Classic time. Florida Classic, they go nuts. Damn You was kind of funny, by the way. But yeah, so going back to the stands though, I don't necessarily see anything that's bad about it. I just see stuff that to me, like I said, looks very stoic and dry. Like there's little to no personality. And I think that throws me off. But again, from a sound perspective, you're not going to out quality a sound them. I do have a question though. And maybe a Bethune person can answer this. Or Dr. Wells, if you are watching this, I do have one question. Why stick with the upright marching euphoniums instead of going with the bell front marching euphoniums? I know that we used to use those uprights when I was in high school back in 90, 98, 99. And, you know, I see that your program still uses it. And I'm just curious as to why. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just curious as to what the reason is. Because I'm always open to learn new information. So, yeah. But again, from a sound and quality of sound perspective, who's seeing them? Who's seeing them? From an arrangement perspective, again, they're not writing anything that's outside of who they are. They're not going to write anything that's outside of any student's comfort zone. They're going to write and build for them what makes them look good, sound good, and be them. 14 karat golden stands. I mean, I still think they're good. I didn't see a bad anything in my personal opinion, which is kind of weird because 14 karat in the stands is very reminiscent of a lot of other universities. Like they're not university dance lines. They're not necessarily doing anything that's different to any other university dance line, which is kind of weird because the band does. Like the band does not and will not do anything that's different or look different. That will do anything that's similar or look similar to anything outside of what they do. Whereas the dance line does. So I think that threw me off. I was just like, that's weird. It's weird. It's weird. But again, that's their program. That's their program. And I'm only talking about from my personal opinion. There may be people who agree. There may be people who don't agree. So let's go to the total package all around. We're talking about drills. We're talking about stands, sound quality of sound, all of that. Whoo. This really wasn't that hard. It's a B for me. It's a B, a solid B. It's not a B minus because I don't think they're going anywhere close to going down. But it's not a B plus because growth is real, right? And what I mean by that is they're not going to change. The energy, so they're not going to change the tempo of the things that I'm going to talk about is the things that can get them to me, in my opinion, to B plus or A minus or A range, right? They're not going to change the tempos of the drills. The drills are going to stay. I really don't. Why was this a thing that y'all created, Apple? Like, who asked for that? Man, Apple is just terrible. Anyway, they make good computers though. But yeah, they're not going to change the tempos of the drill. That's not going to happen, right? They're not going to add anything else to the book outside of what they do, right? Like, they're going to add their 4/5 or whatever, and it's going to be what it is. They going to play Ice Cream Man. That thing is going to get played. Even Mr. Ice Cream Man don't even jam Mr. Ice Cream Man, but Bethune's going to do that. They are. They're not going to change anything that they do in the stands. That stoic nature, that militaristic nature, that you do what I say, That all of that ain't changing. So for me, and musicality, I mean, again, I don't even think anything needs to change about the musicality. So we're not even gonna talk about that. So those four things right there are not changing. So for me, B. You end up changing one of those things, all right, fine, B plus. Cool. But again, I think that they are a program that is a marketable program. You know what you're getting straight out of the gate. Period. And you don't have to question the quality of sound. You don't have to question the quality of the performance. You don't have to question any of it. You know what you're getting right out of the gate. So, with that being said, what do y'all think, man? Do y'all think that they deserve a B? I think that the B is cool. I don't think that they need to move to B plus or B minus. They stay right at B. But what do you all think? Was I off about anything, or was I pretty spot on? Y'all tell me inside of the comment section, man. Also, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell. Hit that notification bell. Just in case of the fact, we got some other stuff coming up because, last night Portia was talking about, I'm just messing with you. We really do take a break in July, but I completely forgot about it. So that was my bad. So I actually told Portia when we got off last night, I appreciate you for actually bringing that up because I had actually forgot about it. But anyway, outside of that, hit that notification bell because we still do have things going on right here on this channel. So make sure you keep it locked in. Also, share this information out, man. I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys for listening. And I will see you guys on next week. Wait. Who's next? Who's next? I was supposed to have this up and I didn't have this up. I got to tell y'all who's next so y'all can get your brains and your minds right. Who do we stop at? Bethune? Ooh, maybe we can do 2 and 1. 2 and 1, because the next one that we have up is Bowie State, and then the following after that is Central State. So we'll do Bowie and Central in one episode, okay? We'll do Bowie and Central in one episode. After that is Clark Atlanta, and then Dell State. So we'll probably do those two in 2 episodes. So yeah, we got a list coming up. And then after that, we're gonna get through finish the D's out. No Diddy. And then we're gonna get to the F's. And y'all know y'all are waiting for Fam. And so that's gonna be the next one up on the chopping block. And then the next big one after Fam is gonna be Grambling. So y'all keep it locked right here to the Passionate Network right here at Luke's Band Report. And I will see you all on next week.